It was supposed to be a quiet Saturday morning on the ranch, the kind where the sunrise paints gold over the wheat fields, coffee steams on the porch rail, and you can actually hear peace. My daughter, Lila, was feeding the horses while our shepherds played by the fence. She's 16, whip-smart, and tougher than a rattlesnake in cowboy boots. But she's also got the heart of gold her mama gave her. I was out in town picking up some feed and tools when I got a panicked call from her. "Dad, Karen's here again, and she's brought the cops. She says I'm trespassing on our own ranch." The phone nearly cracked in my hand. Now, this wasn't the first time HOA Karen tried pulling stunts like this. But this time, she crossed a line. See, Karen had this obsession with community regulations. And ever since she became temporary HOA liaison for neighborhood youth behavior, a title she invented for herself, she thought she had authority over every property within a 5-mile radius, even though our ranch wasn't, has never been, and will never be part of their HOA. But in her mind, we were still under her jurisdiction. Apparently, that morning, she'd seen Lila riding our quarter horse, Dusty, along the fence line and decided that was unauthorized use of shared property. So naturally, she called 911 and somehow convinced 2 rookie officers to come detain a 16-year-old feeding horses on her own land. By the time I hit the dirt road back home, my F-350 was roaring like thunder. I could see the flashing lights from half a mile out. 2 patrol cars parked at my gate, Karen waving her clipboard like she was leading a parade. Lila stood near the barn, tears in her eyes, with one of the officers awkwardly trying to explain procedure. That's when I stepped out of the truck. Karen spun around, smirking. "Oh, good. The rancher finally shows up. Officer, this is the man I've been telling you about. He's allowing his daughter to trespass on HOA property. I demand she be taken into custody immediately." The officers looked at each other, visibly confused. "Ma'am, we're still trying to confirm," I interrupted calmly, walking toward them. "Gentlemen," I said, reaching into my jacket pocket, "before you go any further, you might want to see this." Karen huffed. "Oh, don't try your little tricks." Click. I flipped open my sheriff's badge. The air went still. The 2 officers stiffened immediately. "Sheriff Walker, sir. We didn't realize." Karen's jaw dropped. "Sheriff? You're lying." "He's lying." I handed over my ID, my commission papers, and my county credentials, all still warm from the glove box. The rookie officer looked like he wanted to melt into the ground. "Ma'am," he said, turning to Karen, "this man is the sheriff of this county. You just called 911 to accuse the sheriff's daughter of trespassing on his own ranch." Karen's face turned the exact color of a ripe tomato. "Well, how was I supposed to know that? He doesn't act like a law enforcement officer. His property looks too rural to be official." I gave her a slow smile. "That's because it's a ranch, Karen, not a courthouse." Then I turned to the officers. "Gentlemen, you're dismissed. No harm done. Appreciate your professionalism." They nodded, mumbled apologies, and made a quick exit, leaving Karen standing there clutching her clipboard like it was a life raft. "You can't just dismiss officers like that," she shouted. "Actually," I said, "I can. I am their boss." She stomped her foot. "This isn't over, Sheriff. I'll have your badge for harassment, and your daughter for trespassing." Now, normally I just walk away, but that day, I decided she needed a little lesson in boundaries. So I called over one of my deputies who'd just arrived after hearing the radio chatter. "Deputy, please escort Ms. Wilson off private property. She's trespassing, interfering with livestock handling, and making false emergency calls." Karen's eyes went wide. "You can't arrest me. I'm the head of the HOA." "Ma'am," the deputy said flatly, "the HOA doesn't outrank the sheriff's department." She screamed the whole way down the driveway as the deputy guided her back to her Prius. Lila, meanwhile, finally cracked a smile. "You really had to flash the badge, huh, Dad?" "Only when people forget whose land they're standing on," I said, ruffling her hair. By the next morning, the entire county knew the story. The sheriff's department issued a formal notice about false emergency calls, with Karen's name included. HOA residents demanded a meeting, furious that their dues were being wasted on lawsuits and Karen chaos. Within a week, Karen was removed from the HOA board for conduct unbecoming a representative. But the cherry on top, she had to pay a $5,000 fine for filing a fraudulent emergency report and was banned from contacting law enforcement for non-criminal matters for 6 months. That weekend, Lila and I saddled up and rode along the fence line again, this time with a brand new sign posted right by the gate. Private property. Trespassers will be escorted by the sheriff. His daughter approves. Lila laughed so hard she nearly fell off her horse. And me? I just smiled, tipped my hat toward the horizon, and whispered to the wind, "Another day, another Karen handled by the law."